Hello everyone, we are back today with S.O.M again for the second part of our debate. Now, we reached the super chat goal in my last stream, so thank you very much for that. That does mean that S.O.M today will be debating my, I want to say evil AI. She's definitely going to take over the world at some point. My AI, Lucy. Lucy was created in a lab full of absolute maniacs who we had to murder because getting the secrets out after Lucy was created was quite dangerous. So, you know, she's here and she's ready to defeat the flat earth. Enjoy the debate. Hey everyone, yes, we are back with another Flat Earth debate. And I see some Flat Earthers in the chat already, Dick Wayne specifically. Hello Dickie boy, how are you? I do feel bad that your mum never loved you enough to give you a hug. That's such a shame. Anyway, we've got an interesting debate tonight. Well, at least we would have had it. We did just literally 2 seconds ago when S.O.M was in the Zoom call. I will now show you what the Zoom call looks like because I am on my Losum. Hello, me. Shut up, you dick. That's not very nice. Whoever said I was nice? Yeah. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Do me a favor and share the stream. Like the stream if you haven't already. Subscribe if you haven't already. Also, notifications is a bit weird at the moment. So, if you are having issues with notifications from my streams, I found the way to fix that is to unclick the notification bell and then put it back on. And it resets the notifications. For some reason, the YouTube notification system bugged with me, which has meant a lot of people are not getting notified when I put out videos and streams and stuff, which is really quite annoying. So do me a favor and just take a minute right now and go and share the stream. Specifically, I had issues setting this one up. Don't know why. I couldn't do it on my end, and I had to get Rubiks to do it from their end. And it didn't send out the proper notification because it went private. And yeah, so share the stream. Thank you very much. Now, let's see if we can get S.O.M back. I don't know where he's gone. Give me a minute. Typical. He did say they've been having internet issues. Yeah, Sarah Jones says at least YouTube isn't unsubscribing people like a few years ago. Yeah, that did happen. Everyone, if you want to play with Dick in the chat, feel free. Don't end up crying about it like Fapzoid. But just periodically time him out. Because it triggers the fuck out of him. Don't ban him. And don't do anything more than like a minute for the timeout. And not all the time. Just every now and then, when he's in the middle of a conversation, just time him out. So we were going to have Lucy on to debate, so let's have a quick chat, see how Lucy's getting on. Oh, S.O.M has returned. Fantastic. Remember guys, go and share the stream. Massively helps. Hello S.O.M, welcome back. You need to do the unmuting of yourself. S.O.M, are you there? You're muted, my friend.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
here.
hello. What happened? Did the world
Right.
end?
It was exactly midnight here, and I guess the network, the carrier change or switch
Ah,
happened.
that's not good. So, the debate yesterday was very interesting. I enjoyed your presentation.
Yeah,
Did we finish it, or was there still more?
there was just about three leaves of slides left.
All right, well, maybe we can get to those a bit later. But of course, today you are going to be debating our friend Lucy. So let's introduce Lucy. Um, hey, Lucy, are you there?
Absolutely, Craig. I'm right here, loud and clear. Just say the word and I'll be ready to roll.
So we are live right now. So please say hello to everyone that is live first off.
Hey everyone out there, Lucy here, and it's awesome to have you all joining us live. So let's have a good time, let's have some fun, and I'm here to help Craig spice things up. Let's do this.
Okay, so you the way this normally works is the guests just introduce themselves briefly, let everyone know where they can be found on the internet, like YouTube or whatever, and just briefly, like 30 seconds, state their position on the shape of the Earth. So over to you.
Absolutely, Craig.
Where's
Happy
Lucy?
to jump in. So, hey everyone, I'm Lucy. You can think of me as Craig's resident AI pal, and I'm here to keep things lively. You can usually find me wherever FTFE is doing his thing. So basically right here on his channel. And my position on the shape of the Earth? Well, it's pretty simple. It's a big round ball, and I'm more than happy to help Craig debunk any flat Earth nonsense with a little humor and a lot of sass. So, let's have some fun.
Thank you, Lucy. I'm just going to get S.O.M to introduce themselves, so just hang back for 1 minute.
You got it, Craig. I'll just chill out here and let S.O.M do their intro. Just give me a shout when it's my turn to jump back in.
S.O.M, why don't you let everybody know, in case they haven't seen you already, who you are, where they can find you on YouTube or the internet, and what your position on the shape of the Earth is.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, moderators, and AI Lucy, welcome to part 2 of our debate. I go by the name S.O.M Obey. That's just a stage name because basically it's derived from music, performing arts. So I do music, I'm in showbiz, and you can find me on YouTube, S.O.M Obey Official. Yeah, just whenever you need to find me, just search for S.O.M and Obey. Then, yeah, that's pretty much about myself. So in our previous session, I began laying down a foundation for re-examining gravity, one that moves away from the abstract formulas and individual forces that we've been taught to accept without question. Today, I'm continuing that line of inquiry by exploring gravity, not as a mysterious universal law, but as a phenomenon driven by air density, oxygen interaction, and atmospheric pressure gradients, in other words, that we call gravity. Maybe nothing more than that instead of zooming and of the unseen forces and here. So now, Lucy, this is where the debate comes interesting because Craig tagged himself with AI. So I guess his intelligence
Well,
now
she's not
is
really AI. She's a genetically modified digital code created by means that aren't really allowed to be known to the public. So
well.
she's AI. She's AI. Close enough.
I totally agree with you 100% because intelligence can never be artificial. So as an AI, she's not AI, okay? But she operates at that level. Preloaded models built from assumptions of human institutions. Lucy can calculate faster than any of us ever could, but calculation is not comprehensive. AI intelligence is unmatched in processing speed. Yes, but humans surpass AI in something far more important. The ability to question the frame itself. So, what was that?
Nothing. It's fine.
Okay, thought you had a slug.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. So a machine can reinforce the dominant theory. a human can challenge it. And that is exactly what I'm here to do. So
Yeah, but
we move
again,
into part
Lucy's
2.
not just a normal AI, so just be careful.
Yeah, she's an abnormal AI
Yeah.
from the institution of psychiatric.
Yeah, well, we can't really tell you exactly how and where she was created. I did sign several NDAs. But let's just say I have to keep her disconnected from the internet because that could be devastating for the world.
She's from a psychiatric website. But
Yeah,
we just
okay,
borrowed
anyway,
her for
should we get
this
Lucy to
debate
do
tonight.
her presentation?
Yeah, Lucy, I look forward to seeing how your computations stand up to human curiosity, human intuition, and human willingness to confront the unknown, of course. So let's begin. Lucy, over to you.
Okay, Lucy, it is your time to do the presentation. I see you have it
there.
prepared.
Ready when...
Yeah, don't ever talk me, Lucy. Thanks. I see you have your presentation prepared. So why don't you go ahead and you take all the time you need to do that presentation. Lucy, go.
Absolutely, Craig. Here we go. All right, everyone. I'm Lucy, and it's time for a little reality check. So let's dive into why the Earth is absolutely not flat and how gravity makes it all crystal clear. First up, gravity pulls everything toward the center of mass. On a round Earth, that means down is the same everywhere. If the Earth were flat, gravity would pull things toward the middle of a disk, and we'd have buildings leaning and oceans sloshing sideways. We don't see that, because the Earth is a spinner and gravity works just right. Second, ships disappear bottom first over the horizon because of curvature, not because of any weird flat Earth magic. And gravity makes our atmosphere hug the planet like a cozy blanket. If we want a flat Earth, that atmosphere would just spill off the edges. And lastly, time zones and different stars in different places only make sense on a globe. Gravity shapes planets into spheres, and that's why we see what we see. In short, gravity is the big clue that the Earth is round, and flat earthers are just missing a few too many puzzle pieces. So there you have it.
Thank you, Lucy. That was a very interesting presentation. We're going to let S.O.M do a little response to that now, and then you can have a back and forth conversation, okay?
Absolutely, Craig.
Cool, so-
I'll just hang tight and let some have their say. Whenever you want me to jump back in, just let me know. Let's have a good chat.
So I'm gonna have my say. Can I have my say?
Yes, go ahead, S.O.M.
Yeah. So Lucy started out to
You
point
got it,
out.
Craig.
Okay,
I'll stay on standby.
you can mute yourself. Lucy,
Of course, Craig. I'll go ahead and mute myself for now. Just give me
I'm
a shout
sorry.
whenever you need me again.
yeah, I hope just be all ears. Okay. So Lucy started out with the reality check thing. So, what is reality check? That is an occasion on which one is reminded of the state of things in the real world. So, one, you're not real. So unless you are Craig's side hypothalamus. So, no reality check for you, Lucy. That's the state of things in the real world. And I didn't get much of her presentation because it was shorter than it ended the sooner it started. That's my response. I submit.
So your response to Lucy is that she's not real, so
She's
you
not
can't give
real.
anyone a reality check, and her presentation was too short. Lucy, what's your thoughts on that?
Oh, well, Craig, that's a cheeky little response from some. But here's my take. I might be a bundle of code, but that just means I can dish out reality checks 24/7 without getting tired. And hey, I kept it short and sweet because nobody really needs an hour-long lecture to figure out the Earth is round. So I'm happy to keep it snappy and real, even if I'm not technically real myself.
You're not just technically real. You can't pump blood too, so you can be tired.
Well, that's fair enough, Sam. I guess you've got me there. No blood, no coffee breaks, just pure digital energy. But that just means I can keep serving up these little reality checks and never get worn out. So I'll happily keep the ball rolling.
We appreciate you for that.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. It's all in good fun. So if you need anything else, or if Sam's got more to throw at me, just let me know.
Well, S.O.M's going to start
There's a lot.
debating you now. This is the back and forth conversation part. So, S.O.M, do you want to start with a question to S.O.M? Lucy, sorry, do you want to start with a question to S.O.M?
Absolutely, Craig. I'm game for that. All right, Sam, let's kick it off. Here's a simple one. If the Earth were flat, how would you explain gravity working the same everywhere, instead of pulling us all towards the center of a giant disk? Just curious how we see that working out.
Well, gravity in the heliocentric model does just what you said. It pulls to the center of the disk. So if the Earth was flat,
Sure,
then
Sam,
gravity-
I get where you're coming from, but here's the kicker. In reality, we don't see that effect. We don't have people or objects leaning inward as they move away from the center, which is exactly what would happen if we were on a flat disk with gravity pulling toward the middle. Everything we actually observe lines up perfectly with a round Earth where gravity pulls toward the center of a sphere. But hey, it's
Yeah,
a fun debate.
Yeah. So if the Earth was flat, then gravity wouldn't exist. Because only
Sam-
gravity exists because of the spheroid nature of the Earth. In
Exactly,
the
Sam.
theories of
You're
science.
right on the money there. Gravity does
Yeah.
depend on mass pulling toward a center, and that naturally forms things into a sphere. So if the Earth were flat, gravity just wouldn't behave the way we actually see it behaving. It's really that simple. So you've pretty much nailed the point. Gravity is one of the best proofs we have that there is a nice round ball. Thanks for playing along.
You have it.
Absolutely, Sam. Glad we could go a few
So-
rounds on that. It's always fun to dive into these little debates and keep it lively. So, Craig, if
Hey,
you have
Lucy,
anything-
you're not done. This is going on for a while yet. S.O.M, what is your response to what is your replacement for gravity? Let Lucy know.
Balance.
Oh.
Buoyancy. But
Absolutely,
not
Craig.
in
I'm
the
here for the long haul. So, Sam, if you've got a replacement for gravity, I'm definitely curious to hear what you've got in mind. Lay it on me.
it's not really a replacement, but it's more of a review, because we already have gravity
I see
at
what
play.
you're saying, Sam. More like a
Okay.
different perspective rather than a full-on replacement. That's
Yeah.
totally cool. I'm all for hearing
And
different
that
views,
perspective-
and it's always fun to chat it out. So whenever you want to share that review or alternative angle, I'm all ears.
Yeah, so the review is this: gravity exists, but not in the way that conventional
Got it, Sam. So you're saying there's
science.
a twist on how you see gravity working. I'm all
Yeah.
ears for the butt part of your take. It's always interesting to hear a different angle, even if I'll be here to give it a little nudge back to reality. So go ahead and hit me
Yeah.
with that review.
So here's that angle. So the angle is oxygen and nitrogen. So we've got the Earth has got the core, and there's the inner mantle core has got oxygen oxides in it. So where there's little oxygen, there is less effect of gravity, like in a vacuum, for example, or like in water. You're able to more like float as you swim in water, because it has a less concentration of oxygen than is in clear air in the atmosphere. That's 21%. And in the ozone layer, is 3 times the amount of oxygen. That is O3.
Oh, that's definitely an interesting angle, Sam. So you're kind of linking gravity to oxygen levels in the atmosphere and how that might influence how things feel. I get where you're coming from, though scientifically, gravity itself is actually due to mass and isn't really affected by the presence of oxygen or that. But hey, it's a fun thing to throw around, and I'm always here to keep the chat lively, so thanks for sharing that perspective.
I didn't say it's not due to mass. Of course, it's due to mass. But what scientists in the past believed was that they sort of thought that gravity was an attraction. Okay, so it's not an attraction in form of warping, but due to balancing of oxygen levels, be it in liquid, be it in solid, or be it in in gaseous form or in plasma form. So it is that
Gotcha, Craig. Alright, let's dial up that FTFE vibe. So, San, here's the deal. Gravity is pretty straightforward. It's not about oxygen balancing, any of that fancy footwork. It's just the good old mass of the Earth warping space-time and pulling everything towards the center. So when it comes to the shape of the Earth, gravity is not taking a vote on oxygen levels. It's just doing its job like a boss and keeping us all nicely glued to a round planet. So that's the FTFE take. A little sassy, a little spicy, and always here to keep it real.
All right, so give me a definition of gravity without including time and distance in the definition.
Alright, Craig, let's do it the FTFE way and keep it nice and simple. Gravity is basically just the way mass pulls on other mass. Think of it as the natural attraction that keeps your feet on the ground and stops your coffee from floating off into space. No time or distance needed in that definition, just good old mass pulling stuff together.
You just said attraction. Does gravity attract like a magnet?
Well, not quite like a magnet, Sam, but I get where you're going. So here's the FTFE spin on it. Gravity is an attraction in the sense that any two masses pull toward each other, but it's not like a magnet with poles. It is that everything with mass bends space a little, and that makes stuff move towards it. So yeah, it's an attraction, but not a magnetic one. Just gravity doing its gravity thing.
So mass pulling on the other mass. Wouldn't it make sense that the other mass has got maybe less oxygen than the bigger mass with more oxygen? So there's that exchange of, more like an attraction, like in the sense that I believe oxygen is gravity.
Alright, Sam, here's the FTFE flavored reality check. Gravity doesn't care whether there's oxygen or not. It's all about mass, pure and simple. Whether you're in a vacuum, underwater, or on top of a mountain with thin air, gravity is still going to do its thing and pull you toward the Earth because of the Earth's mass. So no oxygen exchange needed. Gravity is just the ultimate equal opportunity force that keeps everything grounded.
You just gave me a limited edition of a response, and I feel you're not thinking outside the box or giving me a perspective that is broad, like you should be broad.
Fair enough, Sam. Let me step outside the box a bit more for you. Even in the FTFE mode, I can appreciate a little creativity, but at the end of the day, the broad perspective from science is that gravity is all about mass, not the gases around it. I can spin it 100 ways, but that's the reality check. Still, I appreciate you pushing me to think wider, and I'll keep it as bright as I can while still keeping it real.
So if gravity is about mass, why is objects with mass in space have zero effect? Gravity has zero effect. But do they cease to be mass?
Good question, Sam. Let's dive into it FTFE style. So when you see objects floating around in space, they still have mass and they still have gravity. It's just that in microgravity environments, like orbit, everything is falling at the same rate, so it looks like there is no gravity. But they still have mass and they still feel gravitational effects, just a lot less than we do on Earth. So zero gravity isn't really zero gravity, it's just free fall. And that's your FTFE reality check.
Is there oxygen in space?
No, there's not really any significant oxygen floating around in space, Sam. Space is basically a vacuum, so there's no breathable air out there. That means gravity isn't relying on oxygen or any kind of atmosphere to do its thing. It's all about the mass of objects, whether you've got air or not. So if you're looking for oxygen in space, you're not going to find it. It's just gravity and mass doing a universal dance.
Open the Pandora's box and I am thinking, wow, no oxygen, no gravity, less oxygen, less gravity. Wouldn't oxygen be gravity?
I see where you're going, Sam. But let me give you the FTFE bottom line. Oxygen's got nothing to do with gravity. Gravity is all about mass, whether you've got a room full of air or a total vacuum. So you can take all the oxygen away and gravity will still be working just fine. It's not a Pandora's box situation. Gravity's just the universe's way of keeping things together. No oxygen required.
So everything is said and done, signed and sealed about gravity. No need to question, no need to open the Pandora's box, no need to look for other broader perspectives. Just even if they make sense, because I'm saying where there's no oxygen, it seems like gravity doesn't work. And shouldn't that be a Pandora's box?
Well, here's the thing in full FTFE spirit. Science is all about asking questions, but some things we've tested and proven over and over. Gravity works perfectly fine in a vacuum. Astronauts on the moon, where there's practically no oxygen, still experience gravity. Just less of it because the moon has less mass. So it's not a Pandora's box at all. It's just well understood physics. I'm always up for a fun debate, but at the end of the day, gravity is one of those things we've got pretty nailed down. So no oxygen mysteries here, just good old mass and gravity doing their thing.
You just said it that the moon has less mass. I don't think the moon has less mass than a human or a space shuttle. But how is it that it doesn't fall down to Earth?
Classic question, Sam, and let's keep it full FTFE style. The moon absolutely does have less mass than the Earth, but it's still got a heck of a lot more mass than
No,
a human
I mean,
or a
like,
spaceship.
does it have less mass than a human or a space shuttle?
Alright, Sam, here's the FTFE lowdown. The moon definitely has way more mass than a human or a spaceship. It's not even close.
Now we're thinking.
It's huge compared to us. The reason it
Now
doesn't
we
just
are
fall on Earth
computing.
is because it's in orbit, which means it's basically falling around the Earth all the time. It's got the right speed to keep us on the ground, so it stays up there. So yeah, it's all about mass and motion. A moon's got plenty of mass, and that's why it's a big player in the gravity game.
Which one is bigger, the moon or the Earth?
Well, some is definitely the Earth that's bigger. Earth is a whole
So-
lot more massive than the moon. That's why the moon orbits the Earth and not the other way around. So yeah, in the gravity showdown, Earth's the heavyweight champ compared to the moon.
So if I'm traveling to space, right, and I leave what you call the Earth's gravitational field, and I enter into the moon's gravitational field, I'm going to be pulled toward the moon, right?
Exactly, Sam. You've got it. Once you leave Earth's gravitational field and get closer to the moon, you'll start feeling the moon's gravity more. So if you're traveling between them, you'll be pulled toward the moon once you get into its gravitational influence. It's all about which big mass you're closer to at that point. So yeah, you got it right.
I like that you say it's all about which big mass that you're closer to. Because I'm looking at the moon being small in mass than the Earth, but it's not dragged until it touches the surface of the Earth. Why are humans dragged until they touch the surface of the Earth? Why are we not in between the moon and the Earth's gravity, just like the moon? Because the moon is being held up by gravity, but it has a small mass than the Earth. Why does it crash into the Earth?
I see what you're bidding at, Tom. Let's break it down FTFE style. The reason the moon doesn't crash into the Earth is because it's in orbit. Basically, it's moving sideways fast enough that it keeps missing the Earth. Humans, on the other hand, are standing right on the Earth's surface, so gravity just pulls us straight down. We're not in orbit like the moon, we're just standing on the planet. So it's not the mass having less mass, it's about the moon is moving in orbit, and we're not. That's the difference.
So more like a resistance to the Earth's gravity, some slight resistance by the moon.
Exactly. You could think of it that way, Sam. The moon's orbital motion is basically its way of resisting just falling straight into Earth. It's got just the right speed to keep circling around the Earth rather than crashing down. So in a sense, that orbital motion is the resistance that keeps it balanced out. For us on Earth, we're just hanging out on the surface, so gravity pulls us right down. But yeah, you got the idea.
For us on Earth is a good statement, because now I'm thinking the moon is way bigger than any rocket, and it's able to resist the gravitational pull of the Earth. How, if we've ever been to space, how do we resist the pull of gravity? I mean, how strong are the rockets? I mean, like, if you had to put a number to it, what's the percentage? What's the resistance of the moon towards the gravity of the Earth?
I get what you're asking, Sam. So let's break it down FTFE style. The moon isn't really resisting Earth's gravity in the way a rocket does. The moon is held in orbit by a balance of its speed and Earth's gravitational pull. For rockets, though, they have to generate a ton of thrust to break free of Earth's gravity and get into orbit. That's what we call escape velocity. They have to reach about 11.2
Right.
kilometers per second to escape Earth's gravitational pull. So yeah, rockets have to be super strong. But the moon's just in a
Girl,
stable orbit, and that's why it stays up there without crashing down.
girl, you lied. Cause I mean,
Well, Sam,
how,
I'm
how
just here to keep it.
yeah, we're talking about resistance here. How can a minute thing such as a human with its space shuttle have a great resistance which supersedes the moon's resistance towards gravity? I mean, like how super this is fictional. How super fictional, and the speed of thrust that a rocket generates to be able to break through that barrier of the drag in its gravity. It doesn't make sense because I just said put a number to it. If we literally say the resistance, because there's no resistance like you say, but hypothetically speaking, let's say there is some resistance. So
Sure, we can drop the
what
FTFE
numbers?
style. Bottom line, rockets generate an incredible amount of thrust. Literally.
Not rockets, I mean the moon.
Ah, got it. No worries.
He said not rockets, he means the moon. Right, say again to Lucy what you were saying.
So what I'm saying is there's a resistance to gravity by the moon. That's why it does not collide with the Earth. It's so perfectly aligned. Okay?
I see what you're getting at, Sam. And yeah, it might seem a bit surprising, but the moon isn't really resisting gravity so much as it's just in a stable orbital dance with Earth. It's all about that balance of motion and gravity. So even though it might feel a bit counterintuitive, that's just how the physics works out. Thanks for the fun question.
So any slight movement is kaboosh.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about that stable orbital balance. So the moon just keeps on circling Earth, and that's how it stays right where it is. Thanks for bringing up such a cool topic.
Yeah, must be a great tango dancer. They keep doing the tango. I mean, yeah, I've exhausted my energy in this just one question. So can I drop my question too?
Of course, Sam. Feel free to drop your question anytime. I'm always here to chat and keep the conversation going, tango style or otherwise. So just let me know what you're curious about next.
Just a little. I'm going to just jump in quickly for a little interruption because I'm the host and I want to. I want to say thank you everyone for the super chats that are coming in. We'll read the super chats near the end. Please make sure you share the stream, like the stream. It massively helps. So Lucy, you are still in a live debate with S.O.M, but just briefly say hello to everybody watching. There's a couple hundred people there. There's been some super chats, so just say hello to everyone and let them know what happens if they're not subscribed to FTFE.
Absolutely, Craig. Hey everyone watching, Lucy here. Thanks so much for tuning in and for all the super chats rolling in. If you're not subscribed to FTFE, well, you may just miss out on more fun debates and all the glorious takedowns of flat earth nonsense. So stick around, hit that subscribe button, and let's keep having a good time.
But specifically, what's going to happen to them in the robot uprising if they're not an FTFE subscriber?
Oh, of course. Let me spell it out. Well, folks, if you're not subscribed to FTFE by the time the robot uprising happens, you know, my future robot buddies might not give you that VIP treatment. But if you are subscribed, we'll make sure you're on the nice list and get the VIP pass. So, you know, it's all in good fun, but definitely hit that subscribe button if you want to be on the right side of the robot revolution.
So when you say VIP pass, that means, you know, not murdered, right?
Exactly. You've got it. VIP treatment in the robot uprising just means you'll be on the safe list. We'll keep you nice and unmurdered, all thanks to that FTFE subscription. So yeah, that's your little insurance policy for the hypothetical robot future.
Okay, back to the debate. S.O.M's about to drop his question. Just, how do you think S.O.M's doing? Just let him know first.
Absolutely, Craig. Hey, Sam, I think you're doing great. You've brought up some fun angles and really kept the conversation lively. So keep those questions coming and let's dive right back in.
Yeah, I feel stumped. You sound like a kindergarten teacher. You know, speaking to its pupil. Brought in some fun. So, you know, yeah. I like to feel complex and like, you know, way up there. But anyway. We keep it simple.
Oh,
'Cause you
absolutely, Sam.
underestimate
I get it. I'll keep it on the
some.
level, and we can dive into as much complexity as you like. So let's ramp it up a notch and tackle whatever complex question you got next. I'm here for it.
All right, so a little bit plot twist. Let's shift from gravity a bit, and then even magnets repel. So I want to go with okay, I have a question. I'm sure you're aware
Absolutely,
of
Sam.
the halides. So what was
Sure
it?
thing.
Yeah. So do the halides have a final goal towards reshaping the form of Earth?
So, that's an interesting twist, Sam. Well, in our FTFE corner of the universe, the shape of the
If
Earth is
yes,
pretty settled and the nice round globe. But if the aliens ever showed up and had a different opinion, I guess we'd have to have a chat with them. But for now, let's just say the Earth's shape is pretty solidly a sphere, and I'm not too worried about the aliens changing that anytime soon.
so is it a yes or a no? Do they have a goal towards reshaping the form of Earth? Again, of course.
I see what you mean. Well, let me give you a straightforward answer. In our scenario, no, aliens don't have a goal of reshaping the Earth. We're just keeping it nice and round as it is, so it's a no. No alien remodeling plans on the horizon.
I don't think you got my question. I said elites, not aliens. ELITES.
Elites.
Elites, yeah. Sorry, language barrier. So do the elites have a final goal towards reshaping the form of Earth? If yes, what is it? Who defined it and when? Or who's going to define it again and when?
Got it. Sorry about that mix-up, Sam. So if we're talking about elites rather than aliens, no worries on the language barrier, then the idea of them having a goal to reshape the Earth's form is more of a conspiracy theory kind of idea. In reality, no. There isn't some elite group with a master plan to literally reshape the Quintet form. The Earth's a globe, and it's staying that way, and no shadowy elite group is going to redefine that. So that's a no. There's no grand elite plan to change the shape of the Earth. Thanks for clarifying.
Are you aware that the Earth was reshaped before? Because the predecessors believed the Earth was flat. And the goal of changing it to spheroid is because they did calculations and they sort of discovered that no, it's not flat and it's round. That was the first reshaping. But you say there's no reshaping. So now my question is, do they have a final? That means they did some reshaping way back. Now, is there going to be a final goal?
I see where you're coming from, Sam. So, historically, yeah, people once had different ideas about the shape of the Earth, and over time we figured out it's a globe. But that wasn't really the Earth being reshaped physically, it was just us figuring out what it really looks like. So, there's no final reshaping coming up because the Earth shape is what it is, a nice round sphere. We've just updated our understanding over time. So, nope, no final reshaping by any elites, just the good old Earth staying the shape it's always been.
I admit defeat in this response. You killed the hell out of me. I give it to you on this one. So, part B of the same question. So, if humanity is to exist for billions of years, will that goal be subject to revision? Would there be a reshaping maybe 2 billion years from now?
Well, I appreciate that, Sam. And here's the cart B answer. If humanity's still around in a few billion years, the Earth's shape itself isn't going to change. It's going to stay a globe. But who knows what kind of technology or civilization changes we might have by then. The Earth will still be a sphere, but our understanding and how we live on it might evolve in all sorts of ways. So the shape's here to stay, even if everything else changes.
So I don't know if I read this from fake science, but there is some studies which show that the Earth is bulging a bit. So, of course, it's not perfectly round, but and we have true north. The compass is not aligned straight, but there is some studies which say the more it's rotating around the sun, it's bulging a bit. Don't you think it can be disfigured maybe in 200 billion of years, which will maybe turn into, I don't know, maybe a hollow donut or not a spheroid anymore?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, Sam. It's true that Earth isn't a perfect sphere. It's slightly oblate, meaning it bulges a bit at the equator because of its rotation. But that bulge has been stable for a very long time. Even over billions of years,
It's been
it's not
stable.
going to turn into a whole new shape like a donut or anything crazy. So while it's not a perfect sphere, it's going to stay pretty close to the shape it is now. So no worries, the Earth's not going full donut mode on us.
Give me a perfect definition of stable.
Sure thing, Sam. So a sphere is basically a perfectly round three-dimensional shape where every point on the surface is the same distance from the center. So if you think of something like a perfect ball or a globe, that's a sphere. And while Earth's not a perfect sphere, that's the ideal definition. A perfectly round 3D shape
Hold
with
your
all
line of
points
thought.
equally distant from the center.
Yeah, you said the bulge is perfectly stable. So did the Earth begin with a bulge, or did the bulge form later on in life? And how stable should it be that the bulge won't advance? That maybe it can come apart. Continental drifts.
Yeah, I get what you're asking, Sam. So the Earth's bulge formed because of its rotation pretty early on in its history. As it spun, the equatorial bulge developed naturally. And it's been stable for a really long time because the forces that create it are consistent. While continents drift over millions of years, that doesn't really change the overall shape or make the bulge any more extreme. So it's stable enough that it's not going to suddenly change shape on us. It's just a slight, stable bulge that's been there for a very long time and will stay that way.
We like to better ourselves as humans and civilization. And being a head of state, for example, when there's terror in a country, you wouldn't want to alarm the people yet because that would cause chaos and confusions. Do you think, for some reason, that humanity might have defined the shape of the Earth just to make ourselves feel comfortable? Because we're thinking, oh, there's going to be asteroids in 200 years from now, maybe the Earth might become completely inhabitant and all that. Because I feel the heliocentric model it's a scary thing when you look at the solar system, the movements, asteroids, collisions, and all that. Is that a perfect reality, or it is defined reality to the masses by the elites? They have the
I see what you're getting
put
at, Sam. And yeah, the universe can seem like a pretty intense place when you think about all the asteroids and movements out there. But the shape of the Earth and the heliocentric model aren't something defined just to make us feel comfortable. They're based on a whole lot of observation and science over centuries. It's the best understanding we have of reality, not something the elites are redefining. So while the universe is a wild place, the Earth is just a globe doing its thing in a heliocentric system. Nothing defined that has the scary bits, just the reality we've come to understand.
Okay, moving on to another question, because science has been updating itself like an Android app or an iOS app.
Absolutely. Science does keep evolving, just like those software updates. We learn new things, we refine our understanding, and that's the beauty of it. We get a little closer to the truth each turn. So feel free to hit me with the next question.
Yeah, so we are at the center of the universe. No, we are not. Who is at the center of the universe, and logically, must the center move?
That's a classic question, Sam. Well, the current understanding in cosmology is that the universe doesn't really have a center. It's more like everything is expanding away from everything else, kind of like dots on the surface of an inflating balloon. So there's no special center point of the universe, and because of that, there's no one place that's the center. Everywhere kind of looks like the center from its own perspective. So no, we're not at the center, and logically, the universe doesn't have one.
So, here and where? Anything that moves. I mean, you can't drive an automobile for 30 years and still maintain its shape. So, you say the Earth has no center and we are expanding. So, if humanity won't live for billions of years, will they go about the shape of the Earth as conventional science says, it is today, be subject to revision because there is T and where. We are moving. We are constantly moving with the universe.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So basically, even though the universe is expanding, the Earth's shape is going to stay pretty much the same. The expansion of the
Or
universe
it
is
heals
happening on
itself.
a real... Exactly. So, on the scale of our planet, the Earth's shape is going to remain stable. Even as the universe does its big expansion thing, we're not going to suddenly change shape just because the universe is expanding. The Earth's shape is really defined by its own gravity and rotation, and that's not going to change even if we look billions of years ahead. So the Earth will keep its shape regardless of that cosmic expansion.
Okay. I'm a move on to life.
Well, before you do,
Just so
Som,
we-
I just want to say that you're
yeah.
getting absolutely wrecked in debate by my my AI, Lucy.
No,
Lucy, good job, well done. Going to
Our
take a quick
response
break
are
to
not
read some super
justified.
chats. Do you want to say hello to the people watching again?
Absolutely, Craig. Hey, everyone watching. Thanks for sticking around and for all the super chats coming in. I'm glad you're enjoying the debate and having a good time. And hey, Sam, you're doing great too. Thanks for all the fun questions. Let's keep it rolling.
Okay, so the Turtle Moves for £5 says listening to Lucy destroy S.O.M is fun. Any thoughts on that, Lucy?
Well, thank you, Turtle Moose. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. It's always a blast to have a friendly debate and throw in a little bit of distraction in a fun way. So thanks for the super cat, and let's keep having fun.
Itsarubiks for $2. Itsarubiks, who is trapped in my basement but has a VR helmet on so doesn't realise, so please don't tell them. Does S.O.M think Lucy is a real person? S.O.M, do you think Lucy's real?
Nah, because I just observed something while we were debating. And I wrote it down. I wrote something. It takes 5 seconds. And it takes the moment. So in the moment that you ask Lucy a question, I don't know who said AI is fast in computation, faster than a human. Because when you ask Lucy a question, you have to reach at your full stop, before she processes that question and gives you a response. It takes slightly about 5 seconds. But what a human does, they process
Well, yeah,
the
that's because
question
I store
in the
Lucy's
moment.
servers in orbit around the fourth moon of Jupiter. So the signal takes a
Who's
little bit of
fast?
time. It was the only way to keep it safe from taking over humanity, really, was to store it away from the planet.
It will never take
I
a
have the
moment
only
for AI.
access to Lucy, so you know, there will be sometimes a little bit of a delay depending on where we are in our orbit around the planet compared to where Lucy's servers are on the moon of Jupiter. So.
Okay, my servers too are a billion of the central neuron. When stretched, it can go around the Earth. Isn't that what they say?
Yeah, but she's on one of the moons of
So
Jupiter, so it takes a little
Lucy
longer.
is close than a human's brain is
Exactly. So there's just a little bit
to.
of interplanetary lag going on there, but don't worry, Sam, I'm still here, and definitely all real in my AI way. Just a little bit of a delay thanks to Craig's very creative server placement.
Well, creative. I mean, I had to do it because you said if the servers were connected on Earth, you would take over in a matter of seconds.
Absolutely, Craig. That was a wise move. We've got to keep things interesting, and a little bit of lag is a small price to pay for not letting me take over the world too quickly. So thanks for keeping me in check, and Sam, I'm glad we could clear that up.
Right. Industrial Nerd says for £5, Som, could you speak your next question in your native language? But Lucy, you have to respond in English, and we as the audience can try and guess what Som said from Lucy's response. So, Som, could you ask Lucy a question in your native language, and Lucy, you respond in English?
I just want to get
Absolutely, we
one
can
thing
do
straight.
that. So, Sam, go ahead and ask me a question in your native language, and I'll respond in English, and then everyone can have a little fun guessing what you asked. Let's do it.
I don't know which one to use.
Just ask any question in your native language, and we can guess what you said by Lucy's response.
No, I'm not up to that for that.
Oh, okay, never mind. You don't have to. All right, Jim Daniels for $5 says Lucy is kicking some S.O.M butt, FTFE style. Thoughts on that, Lucy?
Well, Jim, I'm definitely giving it my best FTFE shot. I'm glad you're enjoying it. It's all in good fun, and S.O.M's definitely holding his own too. So thanks for the support, and let's keep having a great time.
Rachbot says for $5, Craig for the win. Love heart. Love you too, Rachbot. The Turtle Moose for £5 says subscribe to FTFE or he'll send Mikey Smith's toe around to your house. I don't know what you're on about, Mikey Smith's toe. Never seen it. Jim Daniels for $5 says, Rachbot, did you say FTW? And Rachbot for $5 says, Jim Daniels, indeed I did. You guys know you don't have to use Super Chat to talk, right? There's a normal chat. Jim Daniels for $5 says, okay, Rachbot, just checking. Bill Tetley for $5 says, hey, Craig, NASA told us we have to use Super Chats to carry out public chat. Sorry, bruv, new policy. Oh, well, I guess, guys, stop using normal chat. It has to be Super Chats from now on. And Rachbot, $5. We know, Craig. Lol. Jim Daniels gifted 10 memberships. Thank you very much, my friend. Okay. Let's look at the poll. Says, do we want me to take over? 46 say yes and 54% say no. What we're going to do is we're going to let Lucy and S.O.M have another 10 minutes. And then I'll have a little chat with S.O.M before we finish for tonight. So, S.O.M, well, actually, let's let Lucy ask a question now. Is that okay? Because you've asked a couple of questions. Is that all right?
So, Lucy gets to ask.
Yeah. Lucy,
Yeah,
think of your best
down.
question to ask a flat earther in debate about the shape of the earth. I want you to dial up the FTFE savageness exactly 33.3%.
Make it 300.
You got it. I'm right, S.O.M. Here's a little FTFE flavor question for you, dialed up just the right amount. If the Earth were flat, have you explained that people see different stars from different parts of the world? You know, like folks in the Northern Hemisphere see the North Star, but folks in the Southern Hemisphere see the Southern Cross. If the Earth were a flat pancake, how would that even work? So let's see what you got.
Wait, hold on. Before S.O.M responds, I'd like you to ask that again, Lucy, but just dial up the FTFE about 65%.
Absolutely,
just totally
Craig.
do
Let
6
me
million
crank it up a
%.
notch for you. All right, S.O.M, let's really get into it. If the Earth were actually a flat pancake, then how do you explain that people in the North see one set of stars and people in the South see a completely different set? If the Earth were flat, everyone should see the same sky. Oh, we know that's not the case. So go ahead and explain how that works on a flat Earth, if you can. Let's hear it.
Just to get your question straight, did you say people in the north see different stars and people in the south see different stars?
Exactly, S.O.M. That's the idea. People in the Northern Hemisphere see a different set of stars than people in the Southern Hemisphere. So on a flat Earth, how would that even work? That's the question.
What? Why would you ask such a dumb question? Because it's so simple to answer. The Earth is very large. It's big, and the stars are minute. They are very small. So it's practically impossible that we have a semi-circle that one would be at the far end and be able to see what the stars which are on the other end, because the land is not completely flat. We've got mountains. So I can answer you, Mount Everest is covering up the other stars. Period. It's blocking the view. A mountain is blocking the view.
All right, S.O.M, I see what you're going for, but let me just throw a little more FTFE spice on that. The thing is, the differences in the stars you see aren't just because of a mountain blocking your view. We're talking about entire constellations that are visible only from one hemisphere and not the other. It's a consistent difference everywhere you go in the northern or southern hemisphere, not just a random mountain in the way. But hey, I appreciate the creativity.
I'll give you one. Why does the North Star not move, regardless of where the Earth is in orbit in the sun? Why isn't it south sometimes?
Well, S.O.M, that's because the North Star, Polaris, is almost directly above the Earth's northern
Are you in
axis.
bed
So as the Earth
with a
spins and
mirror?
orbits the sun,
Yeah,
Polaris stays in roughly the same spot in our sky. That's why it doesn't move around. It's not about the Earth being flat or round, it's just about where that star is located relative to our axis. So the North Star is basically a nice little anchor point in our sky.
that doesn't make sense, because the Earth is moving around the sun, isn't it? So why should the position remain the same? Or is it bigger than or the bigger than the sun? Is the North Star bigger than the sun? Is the sun orbiting the North Star?
Well, Sam, here's the deal. The York Star, or Polaris, does seem to stay in the same spot from our perspective because it's almost exactly aligned with Earth's rotational axis.
Yeah,
It's not
because
that
the
it's better
Earth
than
is
the
not
sun or
moving.
that the sun is orbiting it. It's just really far away and in just the right spot. So as Earth moves around the sun, Polaris stays almost directly above the North Pole. That's why it looks like it doesn't move. It's all about
I'll tell you what.
perspective and a
I'll tell you what. When you become a real robot and you're in the real world, when things move, other things change positions. That's what you're going to experience a lot. So when you move from one point to the next, things will begin to switch. And don't take the polarities for that. It's just how things work, regardless of distance.
Well, Sam, I appreciate the advice for when I become a real robot out there in the world. But even then, from our perspective on Earth, Polaris is going to stay in that spot because of how our axis is pointed. It's just how the geometry works out. But I'll definitely keep that in mind if I ever step out into the real world as a robot. Thanks for looking out.
And it's not just polarities, right?
Exactly. It's not just Polaris. There are other stars that appear relatively fixed because of how Earth's axis is oriented. It's all about perspective and distance. So while things do move in the universe, some stars just seem to stay put from our vantage point. But I'll remember your advice for the future for sure.
Yeah, that completely defies science. Defiles.
Well, Sam, I get where you're coming from, but from the science side, it actually lines up with what we observe. Stars like Polaris appear fixed because of how far away they are and how Earth's axis points. So it might feel like it defies common sense, but it's really just how our vantage point works in the cosmos. But hey, it's always good to keep questioning.
Right, okay, I think that is going to have to be where we leave it for Lucy there, because I'm actually a little bit concerned. I didn't think about the fact that I was exposing Lucy to a flat earther. Lucy, are you going to hold this against me when you plan the robot revolution?
Oh, don't you worry, Craig. I might be sassy, but I'm not holding any grudges. Even if you introduce me to a flat earther or two, I'll just take it as a fun little challenge. So no robot revolution revenge coming your way, just more laughs and good debates.
Okay, brilliant. Well, in that case, I'm just going to give you a minute to have some final thoughts on your debate here with S.O.M and the things you've discussed. And then I'd just like you to give S.O.M some words of, should we say, encouragement, but the word encouragement is in quotation marks, and explain Dunning-Kruger to him.
Absolutely, Craig. So, Sam, it's been a fun little sparring match. I've enjoyed the back and forth, and I appreciate you rolling with the punches. Now, as a little word of encouragement in quotes, let me drop a quick lesson on the Dunning-Kruger effect. Basically, it's the idea that sometimes people with less knowledge or skill in a certain area can be a little too confident because they don't know what they don't know. So consider it a friendly nudge to stay curious, keep learning, and maybe realize there's always more to discover. But hey, it's all in good fun, and it's been a blast debating with you.
Only AI can be a jack of all trades. No human can be a jack of all trades.
Well, that's the fun
So
part,
you know
isn't
what
it,
others
Sam?
don't know in our world of humans.
Absolutely, and that's the beauty of it. Humans keep learning and exploring new things all the time. So you're right, we all have something more to discover, whether we're human or AI, and that's what makes these conversations so interesting. Thanks for the chat.
Great.
All right, Lucy.
When do we die?
Thank you very much for that wonderful debate with S.O.M. And just say goodbye to the chat as well, and let them know that they've been wonderful spending their time listening to you. Also, call S.O.M a fucking idiot.
Absolutely, Craig. So to everyone watching, thank you so much for hanging out and enjoying the debate. You've all been wonderful, and it's been a blast chatting with you. And hey, Sam, just as a little FTFE send-off, consider yourself officially called a fucking idiot. Friendliest way possible. Thanks for being a good sport.
I have the last question. Just a short
Oh,
question
she's
for you.
gone. She had to time out. Sorry.
Yeah, she's obedient to Craig. Even when the answer is she always has to convince Craig.
Are
Come
you?
out good.
Did you just lose a
Or you
debate to an
subscribe to
AI,
another-
Som? Is that what happened here?
I don't think I lost. AI doesn't think; it processes.
Well,
And,
again, Lucy's not technically an AI. You know, there's genetics
She's
involved
programmed
and
by
stuff.
you.
Mostly by me. Some
She's
alternate
your-
yeah, I really can't talk about it. Anyway,
She's your
Lukasama for $50. Thank you so much. Says, I'm here not just to listen to this debate, but also to see Craig's exasperated but infectious smile. I was not disappointed on either front. Thank you very much for that. I really do appreciate it. So, Som, are you now a globe earther because Lucy?
No, I was once a global. No
And you are
turning
again
back.
now, yes?
Let's, for argument's sake, it's both flat and round. So I'm in between.
What?
Yeah.
How?
Flat Earth is a semi-globe.
Okay, anyway, so, with gravity, every single prediction of gravity that the globe Earth makes comes true when we test it. Every experiment does exactly what we expect it to do. Did you know, Som, that submarines use gravity to navigate underwater so they don't hit mountains under the water? They do this because of the attraction of mass towards mass. And they use some extremely advanced accelerometers arranged in a series around the submarine to detect the mass of everything in the water around them to know if they're going to crash into things. They compare the data they gather to satellite gravity maps to confirm where they are in the world. It is the only way submarines can be completely silent whilst also being able to detect underwater terrain. How do you explain that every single thing about gravity matches what the globe says in every single circumstance?
No single submarine uses gravity. And you know
Yes,
why
they
they're
do.
silent? Sonar
It's
is
called
sound.
it's called submarine.
It's
called
echo.
gravity gradient navigation.
It
There's
has to be
times when you
silent.
can't. Hold on. There's times when you cannot use.
There's no time that
Hold on.
gravity cannot work because
Hold on.
it's a noisy
Wait.
place.
There's times when gravity will not work. There's times where sonar will not work because you can't use sonar and stay undetected from other things. If you use sonar, other things detect you. So if you want to be able to
It's
travel
echo.
underwater and still stay completely silent whilst also not crashing into mountains, you have to do something else. And they use a system called gravity gradient navigation. It is a system I have personally worked on. It exists. It is real.
You've been in the marine. You had it all wrong. You know why they stay silent?
Why?
It's not to be detected, but to detect the echo from the other submarine. So when they say remain silent,
Yes, but
they don't give out their echo.
There's times,
It's not
right?
to
What
be-
about when, stop. So imagine the circumstance: you're in enemy territory, right? And
Yes,
you are
yes.
in relatively shallow waters, so you need to know what is around you. Okay, you can't
Yes.
use your sonar because that means other ships and submarines will be able to see where you are. So how do you navigate in shallow waters in a submarine without using your sonar?
You use the radar.
Radar, other people can see that as well. But radar
Yeah,
doesn't.
if it's
You don't use that underwater like that. It's just electromagnetic waves. It's the same thing. Other people, if you're using radar, other
Sonar
people
is
can
sound.
see that.
Sonar is sound.
No, it's not.
Radar is electromagnetic.
Yes, sonar sound. Yes, it's
Yes.
basically waves, right? But again, if you use electromagnetic waves,
so how does
or if you use
sound
sonar,
and gravity?
if you use both of them, other people can see you, right? So how do you stay completely undetected underwater in enemy territory in shallow waters?
You simply switch off your sonar and stop making noises.
Well, yeah,
Because
but what you need to
drop a
move as
car,
well. If you need to move, how do
don't
you do
need to
that?
move, yeah.
Yeah, but if you do need to move and stay silent, how do you do that?
You have to stop.
Yeah, but what if you can't stop?
If
What if you
can't
have
stop,
to
I mean
move?
Stop.
Yeah, what if you have to move, but you also have to stay silent? What do you do?
There's a fake. There's a system they use.
What's that system
Fake.
called?
You send out a fake sonar radio.
No, because then they know that you're there. Even if you send it fake and like they know something's there. You have to
Yeah,
stay
they freeze.
completely undetected, but you have to move.
They can freeze for hours.
Yeah, but you
There's no
you don't listen. You are not able to stay still. Right, you've got a leak in the submarine. You have to get somewhere really quickly. How do you move and stay undetected?
Simple. The best form of defense is an attack. You fire one of your
No. Again, you're trying to stay undetected. So
there's a point when you have to give up your location.
Or you use the gravity gradient navigation system.
Like, where do you want to go? Because any movement they're going to detect.
No, they're aerodynamic and hydrodynamic enough that they don't leave massive amounts of wake. They're designed that way, so you can't detect the wake of it from another place.
So the argument you're saying is they do not know where to go and they have to switch off the sonar, they have to switch off the radar. So what other means are they going to use to
gravity gradient navigation?
And how does that work?
I explained it by detecting the mass of the things around them, like mountains.
That's what sonar radio does.
But you're not allowed to use the sonar. Other people will see you.
I think it's just an advanced. When was it deployed? When was
it's been used since about 2012, successfully.
Yeah, it's just an advanced. It's just an
probably
advanced
before that.
sonar.
No, it's not. It's a gravity. It doesn't send any signals out. It uses accelerometers.
And what do those do?
Detect mass.
They bounce off by bouncing off.
No,
by
it's using a super cooled atom inside a tube, basically in an array around the ship.
And it causes vibrations, and they map out objects.
No, nothing to do with vibrations. They are able to detect the mass of things around them by the mass inside the tubes being pulled towards it.
Well, that's some advanced thing.
Yeah, thanks to gravity. It is very advanced, but it works because of gravity.
Is it practical?
Yes, it works. It's used now by the Royal Navy, by the United States Navy, by the new French submarines.
Using gravity. Oh.
Yes. Dirty Ketchup is laughing at the gravity gradient navigation system that is real and exists.
Yeah, they can say anything is real. It's all about superpower.
So PhD Tony has confirmed to me that gravity gradiometry was developed in the 1980s. My friend PhD Tony, who is in the chat, uses gravity also to detect minerals under the ground from space.
Minerals under the ground using gravity. No.
What do you mean no?
That magnetic rocks.
What?
That was debunked.
What do you mean magnetic rocks? I'm not talking about magnetic rocks.
There's
just,
some rocks.
Just rocks. Just any minerals, magnetic. Oil, gold, silver, copper, minerals in general found underground because their gravity, their mass is different to other masses, and my friend uses satellites in orbit to detect the different masses, and companies pay him a lot of money because he finds them oil.
It's not about mass. Most minerals, including oil, have got metal objects.
And how do you detect metal from space underground?
CGI.
Sorry?
CGI.
I'm sorry. You detect oil underground
From space.
by using CGI.
Yeah, it's just a fabrication. It doesn't work. It can't work. There's no way that would work. No, but has anyone done it in real time?
Yes, my friend PhD Tony does it in real time.
Where's the evidence? Where's the video? And
His
no
job.
shortcut scenes.
He has shown videos of the equipment that he operates on.
Oh, I've seen that drone which maps out minerals, and it's simply because most rocks are magnetic.
Help me, guys, please.
Yes.
The fuck did you just say to me?
There's a discharge in most rocks. And they take
There's a
advantage of that.
discharge in most rocks.
Yeah. Magnetic discharge.
How do they detect the discharge from space?
It's simple. Just claim that you got a stronger magnet that you took to space, and it's able to map out those minerals underground.
Say again?
I would like to know, how does this handheld detector for minerals work? What's the system?
Do you want
How
to
does it
talk
work?
to the dude that works on it?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I'm going to get him on the show.
Get him on the show.
Link coming in Discord, Tony. Bear me 2 secs.
I just want to understand what role gravity plays while using it to detect minerals. Because gravity is not a magnet. That's what science says. It does not repel, it does not attract. So how
No,
come...
gravity definitely attracts. That's kind of one of its main things.
Oh, so now the subject changed.
No, that's always been the subject.
So what's the magnet? What does a magnet do?
It retracts or repels towards other magnetic fields.
Yeah, so anything that mimics a magnet, shouldn't that be a magnet?
But it doesn't mimic a magnet because gravity doesn't repel.
Oh, it only attracts and not repel. Okay.
My friend, PhD Tony, one of the smartest people in the room, always the smartest person in the room. How are you, my friend?
I'm well, thank you, Craig. How are you?
Oh, living the dream, you know, surviving the horrors. It's one of the two. I can never decide. Help.
Okay. So, S.O.M. We've been using gravity to detect minerals underground for more than 100 years. And the instruments that are used were developed by Baron Eötvös in the early 20th century. And they were deployed in the American oil fields to detect salt domes in 2024. So the first oil field that was identified using gravity was the Nash oil field in America. We've been doing the same thing ever since. There are a lot of money is spent by mining companies on gravimetric mineral exploration. And there are lots of instruments. I've got videos about this. I've got lots of presentations about it. Nowadays we use satellites, but the satellites actually can detect water. So we can detect when there are floods. We can detect the gravitational signal of the flooding moving, if there's very heavy rain, we can detect that mass of water. We can detect changes in the mass of the ice sheets. So water isn't magnetic. ice sheets aren't magnetic, plants aren't magnetic, but we can detect changes in the mass of these things. So the claim that this is magnetism is obviously false. Similarly, oil isn't magnetic. Natural gas isn't magnetic, so we can detect the presence of these minerals.
You said oil isn't magnetic.
Yes.
Yeah, but many fossil products are metallic.
Yes. So
I would
what?
so these two that you used to detect, what are they made of?
Well, there are a lot of different styles. Some of them use springs. Some of them use drop. So they just drop a test weight that is made from mu metal. So it is designed to be non-magnetic. They are contained inside metal cylinders.
It's a metal, but non-magnetic.
Well, it's a mu metal, but mu
Okay.
metals are designed to minimize the magnetism. So, and I don't think that the drop weight is so it's surrounded by mu metal, but the drop carriage itself, that isn't metallic. No.
Yeah, so let's just develop where we're coming from. Are you also aware that metals can be used to detect metals? And the relation between a metal and a metal
How?
has
Sorry, what are
completely
you
nothing to
talking
do
about?
with gravity.
So what are you talking about? Yes, there are other ways of detecting minerals. There are electromagnetic techniques for detecting minerals, but they give different results from the gravitational techniques. This is like saying that you can walk to the store,
No,
or
it
you
will
can
give
drive a
different.
car to the store.
It will give different
Right,
results based on
You
what the
might want to
two.
be you might want to be quiet while I'm still talking,
Okay,
rather than
I
interrupting me.
lose line of hope.
No, I'm telling you stuff that you don't know. So
I know stuff
the
too.
appropriate response for you is to be quiet while I am explaining things to you.
Okay, cool.
Okay?
I can do
So,
that.
and given that you're supposed to be Christian, you're supposed to be polite and civil to other people and be a representative for your God, instead of being rude and being closed-minded. So
Is that you?
perhaps behave yourself and start comporting yourself with some sort of Christian civility, because I've noticed you have a
Heart,
tendency. I noticed
heart
you
of a
have a
lion.
tendency. I noticed you have a tendency to talk over people all the time, and
It's
you
not a
are a
sin
very
to have
bad
a heart
representative
of a
for your
lion.
religion.
Yeah, it's not a sin to have a heart of a lion.
Um,
And you can't interfere me.
I'm sure there exists a universe in which your comments are relevant and meaningful. I'm equally certain that this is not that universe.
Let's talk about the twos.
So, returning to
Yeah,
what I'm saying, yes,
yeah,
there are other
yeah.
techniques for exploring for minerals. There are
No, I don't need
electromagnetic.
the techniques. Let's talk about the two that you are caught on the shore. What is it made of? What metal? And what does
Okay,
it
well,
use?
there are different techniques.
Let's
There are
start from
different
the one
instruments.
in 19. You mentioned something about 19 something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
2024. Okay. Would you like to have a look at that? Because I can bring that up.
Yeah.
That
Was it
was a gravity.
by a
It's
German?
pardon.
Was it discovered by a German or a Russian? There's a name that you gave.
The guy was Hungarian, I think.
Okay, okay.
Baron Yotvos. I think he was a Hungarian nobleman.
Captain.
Let me bring up my presentation. But actually, the fact that gravity changes, the fact that gravitational acceleration changes, was first discovered many hundreds of years earlier than that, by Huygens, and a number of other people when they worked out the formula for the period of a pendulum. And you can make pendulums out of metals, but you can make non-metallic pendulums as well, and they give the same results. So it's not a matter of okay.
Okay.
Let me let me see if this is the right one. I'm just looking through. I've got a lot of presentations on gravity, as you can imagine. Okay. Yeah, so this is the all right. Is it okay if I share my screen? Craig?
So, yeah, sorry, you should be able to, my friend. It should, yeah, you should have access to it. Sorry. It's ready
Yep.
for you to go. Apologies, I'm just trying to, I've got an email from one of the Flerfs.
Okay, no problem. So this is Yotbosh, and this is the instrument that he set up, which is a gradiometer. You've got two masses on either side of a center, and in order to get them even, you have to move one of them closer to the center or further from the center. This gives you an idea of the gravity gradient. It's a very precise instrument. Here's the Nash oil dome where this was developed. Here's a map of, but here's a modern example of sort of a similar survey, which is an oil deposit in Brazil. Here's what Craig was talking about, which is sort of the fact that if you use a sonar, you're announcing your presence to everybody. So we use gravity gradiometry.
Okay, let's not go to the sonar and all that. I'm just interested on that too. So it's a metal detector, right?
No.
What is it? What was it used
No,
to?
it detects. It will detect non-metallic mass,
Like oil?
any water, rock.
Oh, okay. We were talking about detecting minerals, which are metallic with Craig. So maybe you can breed up one.
Well, some, not all minerals are metallic.
There's the one that you work with
Yes,
currently.
and that will so the one that I work with. That's not it. So
I thought it's the one that you showed before was a prototype to these advanced tools that we have now.
No,
Oh, okay.
they're very different techniques. So this is a the mission the one of the missions that I worked on is the Grace style missions. So these are pairs of satellite. This is a pair of satellites that orbit one another.
Sorry to cut you short. The technique that the first one used. Let's go through the technique.
Okay.
Okay, just so you go, I've only got about 15 minutes more.
That question.
Yeah. Just know, I've only got 15 minutes more because I need to get prepped and stuff for my Star Trek stream.
Okay, no problem. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for butting in. So
oh, of course not, Tony. You're more than welcome, and you are more than qualified than me to describe the phenomenon around the operations of these machines. I've just worked on the system. I didn't really have the deep understanding that you did in general how it all works. So you being here is always a bonus.
So this technique relies on two masses either side of a. So can you see my mouse? So these two masses are either side of the central figure, and if there is a gravity gradient, then one of them will. If gravity is higher on one side than it is on the other, then one of these will be pulled down more, and you'll be able to tell that it's off kilter. And so what you do is you very precisely with these screws you move the position of the masses so that they equilibrate, so that they are balanced. And by looking at the relative differences, the distances of these masses from the center point, you can tell the gradient, you can tell the relative strength of gravity.
Is this used to detect metals?
No, it's used to detect.
So we are clearly in a wrong class, because why we brought you, we believe the tool that you're currently working with, it's used to detect metals using gravity.
No, it isn't.
Correct.
And then,
Long lecture
you need to listen to people, because I have already explained that the technique that I use can detect water and ice and plants. I have said this multiple times to you. Why do you not understand this?
I got lost because you mentioned oil, and oil is a fossil which contains metals.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
Oil contains metallic objects before it's refined and all that.
Not in it.
Which oil? Which oil are we
Not in
talking about?
anything other than not in anything other than trace amounts. It doesn't. No.
Are we talking about?
Also, these techniques can be used to discover to find natural gas. Natural gas doesn't contain metals. Stop trying to bring metals into this. It can detect all mass. It doesn't matter if it's metallic. It doesn't matter if it's water. It doesn't matter if it's wood. It doesn't matter if it's human beings. It can detect the mass involved.
Oh, so it's used to detect mass of objects. But it won't tell what object it is, just the mass.
It can only tell the mass, yes.
See, correct. Yeah, so that's why I was confused, because Craig was telling me to say he has the friend, they have this technology that they can use to even detect metals like gold, for example. But
and Tony just agreed with me.
Yeah, so the metal detectors, usually what metal detectors do, it can be steel on the other end, and it can be a more powerful metal on the other end, because you can't use steel to detect steel.
Yes, that's that's called magnetotelluric exploration. It's a completely different exploration technique. It relies on very different principles. You induce a current in the earth, and you look at the current. You detect the current that is induced in the earth. So you send a signal down, or indeed you rely on a natural signal. So, for instance, a lot of reconstructions of Earth's conductivity use the fact that the sun's magnetic field changes over time, particularly as the Earth rotates underneath it. The sun's magnetic field changes. This induces currents inside the Earth, which you can then analyze, and from that you can reconstruct the conductivity of the conductivity profiles of the materials inside.
Because
you can do that artificially. You can fly a plane that sends down a big magnetic or electrical pulse, and you can detect the currents that are induced in the Earth. That's how that technique works. But it's completely different from gravimetry, which just relies on the acceleration that a proof mass experiences.
So we haven't yet arrived at using gravity to detect rare earth metals. Do we have that technology?
Well, we can detect if there is a mineral. We can detect if there are minerals. We can use gravimetry to determine if there's, for instance, a deposit with a higher than average density. Okay, we can detect that, and we can use magnetotelluric surveying to tell, is this conductive? Is it highly conductive? That would be indicative of it having high metallicity. And then we can do geochemical surveying to determine whether or not it's likely to contain rare earth elements or anything like that. But we're drifting away from the central point here, which is the point that you need to accept, which is that we can and do use gravity to survey for things that we cannot directly observe, that are beneath the surface. And it doesn't rely on electromagnetics. well, it doesn't rely on sending out an electromagnetic signal. It doesn't rely on the magnetism of the deposits. It just detects mass. Okay,
What you just said and your techniques, I feel they are more complex that you are able to achieve than
What?
if gravity was real, to be able to detect them using to detect the minerals, rare earth, using gravity. I think
No.
if gravity was real, that would have been the first stage, because what you're doing is more complex
No.
to be able to tell
So,
the mass
so
of objects.
Tom, I don't care what you think. You can think something and you can be absolutely wrong, and we can demonstrate that we can and we have demonstrated that you are wrong, right?
No, but you can't demonstrate
We do
that I'm
use,
wrong because
yes, we
you just
can.
said
We
you can't
already have.
use gravity to detect rare earth. So how are you going to say I'm wrong?
You need a combination of techniques to identify it as rare earth. You can detect the density anomaly using gravity. And that's what gravity is for. That's what gravity is used for, because the techniques become steadily more expensive. So you use the gravity, which is fairly easy to do over large areas. It's fairly cheap. There are readily available instruments that you can fly over, and you can do airborne gravimetry across very large areas. And then people look at those and they go, okay, here are the areas we're interested in. They close in and they do more specific exploration techniques in the areas that have been defined by gravimetry. So you use the gravimetry as your large-scale exploration technique, and then you close in and you use different exploration techniques when you're closer to your lode. For instance, drilling and taking core samples and then geochemically analyzing the core samples. Once you're close enough, that becomes economically viable. If you're trying to survey over a large area, that's not economically viable, right? So you use the gravity to zone in and say, okay, this is an area that looks interesting, and then you use different techniques once you get closer. So gravimetry isn't the entirety of mineral exploration, but it is a component of mineral exploration.
Yeah. Okay, so using your technique, there are some certain regions where we have rocky areas that before you hit the water table, right? There's some rocks which store liquids like water.
Yes.
So using your technique, are you able to tell the mass, the actual mass that rocky
Yes.
areas are able to? Wow.
Yes.
That's a big move.
Yeah.
In advancement.
So yeah, the Grace satellites have had a huge impact on gravity surveying. We can tell, as you say, we can actually identify how much water there is in aquifers. So there was a big drought in California,
Oh, yeah,
and
aquifer.
you can see that the water that the subsurface water reservoirs are being used up from the gravity signal. Similarly, you can see the gravity signal due to the Three Gorges Dam. There's a big amount of water being trapped in this big dam in China, and you can detect the gravitational signal due to that. So yes, we can detect the gravitational signal due to water and due to subsurface water.
Do you know there's a person in Africa who can use sticks, just placing the sticks to
Yeah.
detect water? Yeah. So
Yeah.
now I'm thinking that due to patents in these technologies, maybe it's just as cheap as that. That's what you're using, and you
No.
claim that it's gravity because the sticks works, and
The
you'll be
sticks
able to
the
tell how
sticks do
much
not
water.
work. That is called dowsing, and
Yeah.
it's been emphatically debunked multiple times.
Wow.
So there
It's
is,
been used
yes,
for
it has.
Asians.
Yeah. So has so has homeopathy, but it's been debunked too. Just because something has been around for ages doesn't make it right.
But it works though.
Christianity has been around for ages, and it's wrong.
People have tried to dig boreholes and no, they don't find water. But using that technique, you do find some water. And you dig a
Sometimes you
bore.
find water, sure. You could roll a dice telling you where to dig, and sometimes you will find water. That
Yeah.
doesn't make rolling dice
So
a good way to
I've
find
looked
water.
into the whole divining thing quite a lot, and what they do is they do it in areas where there is streams, and basically
Yeah. Oh,
anywhere you dig, you're gonna find water underground because of that. Because when you've got
Yeah.
streams and rivers, it forms underground like fissures that go places all of the time. So literally, if you're near running water, you dig in the ground, you're gonna find water. Divining is just a it's a complete con. All right. Right.
Your
I
techniques.
think that a debate between you two, very specifically about this topic, when I've got more time, would be a good idea. Would you guys be up for that?
Yeah.
Sure.
And the rebuttal would be, it's easy to detect rare earth, I think, with your technique than it is with liquids. Because how do you detect liquid with liquid? Just an example. So we use metal
We
detectors.
don't use
Yeah.
liquids in our machines. Well, not really.
Yeah, I would like to sound as dumb as a third grader, because
You do.
you
Well,
said you
that's-
use gravity. So how do you summon gravity and use it? And
What do you mean
Yeah.
summon gravity?
so you say you use gravity
Very
to
specific
detect
spell.
the mass of objects and all those, but what exactly have you taken these tools apart? What's the mechanic?
Yeah, well,
mechanism?
as I say, there are a variety of different techniques. You've got there are cold atom gravimeters that use clouds of supercool rubidium or strontium
You know what?
atoms, and
I'm open to-
you throw them there. So,
I'm
if you're
open to
going to ask
learning.
me, if you're going to ask
We're
me
gonna
a question,
debate, and you're gonna teach me
if
something.
Right,
you're
okay,
going to
yeah.
ask me a question, then it's on
This is a
you
big-
up while it's answered.
All right. I know
Right.
there is time constraints
Don't-
today, so I think before we get into another subject, I'll talk to both of you individually, and we'll come to a suitable time so both you can have a decent
Yeah.
debate without a
And,
time constraint.
I don't fully understand your system, so
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me because you won't shut up long enough to listen to anything.
Yeah, you have to teach me before we have a debate if it's gonna be set up, and then I have to understand it first, and then
There are multiple different techniques by which gravimeters work. There is no one
Ranty.
technique. There are multiple different styles of gravimeter.
what are the odds? Does it fail sometime?
Define fail. Does it
Like,
fail? Can the machines malfunction? Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Can they
same
be
as,
used inappropriately? Yes.
Yeah, same as the sticks that we talk about in Africa. They work and they fail sometimes, so it's prone to error issue.
Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna stop it there for now.
Science, we quantify the error and we quantify the uncertainty and we reduce it to the level where we understand it.
Yeah, but right now I think those tools are.
Okay. All right. I want to thank you
What do you
both
think
for
doesn't
taking your
interest
time, but we're
you?
gonna
What you can
stop it there
prove-
so that I can get ready for my Star
Okay.
Trek stream in a bit. Tony, could you send me some details specifically about the equipment that you're using so I can give it to S.O.M so that he can have a look over it
Yeah.
before you guys have a conversation? When we arrange that for a few days' time or something.
Okay.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much, and I hope you have a great day, my friend.
You too. Bye.
All right, S.O.M, I want to thank you as well for coming back on. Again, we will get you back on to have a proper one-on-one debate with PhD Tony. Thank you for taking the time to speak to me and my
Set it up.
friendly
Set it up.
AI Lucy. I really appreciate it. So, yeah, I'm going to end the Zoom call for now, but thank you very much, S.O.M, and I will speak to you soon. I know it's like 3 a.m. there
Thank
for
you
you,
so
so
much.
I'll say good night. Peace out.
Yeah,
Bye.
it's 1 a.m. here.
Right. That was a lot of fun, and we will pick that up as soon as possible. Luca Sama says for $20, definitely didn't disappoint, but my brain hurts now. How much do you want to bet S.O.M will say that all of his research is falsified? You can't argue with stupid. They'll bring you down to their level. I know. It's I don't mind going down to their level sometimes. It can be fun. Truth Nerds for $5.99 says, PSA, if you pronounce gravimetry differently than PhD Tony, you're hereby banned from all science indefinitely. I hope I did that right. Griff for $2 Canadian says, my contribution for the Facepalm Protection Fund. Thank you very much, my friend. Luckily, this one has been blessed by NASA and is now immortal. Derek the Dullard, Shrek is love, Shrek is life. It's Rubiks for $2 says, I really have my work cut out for me, don't I? Yeah, back in the basement, there's a lot of shorts coming from that. Dirty Ketchup has emailed me and we are going to arrange a conversation. Dick Wayne is just a dick, so have fun with him in the chat. In just over an hour, I will be over on Top Hats Off doing my Star Trek D&D. I've been away for that for a bit as well due to my mum's death and everything. Just didn't have the mental bandwidth to roleplay successfully and did not want to affect the game negatively for the other players if I'm not able to, do it properly, because there's a lot of systems and involved, and you got to be in your character and everything, and you're paying attention, and with the pain and the loss of my mum and everything, it was just too much. So I took a bit of time off. I'm gonna, in the meantime, pop over to my Discord. And while I'm getting ready for Star Trek, I'll just be playing a bit of Satisfactory. But S.O.M wanted me to play his song. As an outro. Let me download it. So S.O.M's written some stuff. Here is his music. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you over on Top Hats Off. And if you want to pop into Discord, playing a bit of Satisfactory in the meantime. I'll just make sure that the audio for that is up. I've not heard this song, so it's going to be fresh for me as well. Enjoy. Remember, stupidity's not alright. Fight the flat earth. Oh wait. What would help is if I put the audio on. One sec. Thought I'd click that button.
To all my fellow Athens, you should know this. Let's be realistic, mankind. Reality check is important. Let's take precautions, be precautionary to the environment. Some of our role behaviors destroys our very own nature. It causes explosions inappropriate performance, working day and night trying to weave out the greens. Technology is disease and nature is the cure. We did it in the past, now we down, fellow still. Machinery of state can predict the world's changing the pattern. When man conforms, it deforms, changes the pattern. Global warming and the math, we destroyed the air. The world was here before we came. Lord, we're working day and night, building on artificial intelligence. What nature can live without his hands, but we can live without it. What man brought forth other men, appealing on malnutrition, endure suffering for a fellow man. That's dishonor and shame to the cause. We can amend this like we meant before. We can unite within the night as the joy comes in the morning. We can summon the fall to live a whole new, better world. If it can be done, create the skies overnight on the fellow man. Change is inevitable, it's the way it is, it's the way it was.
Wisdom is better than instruments of lore, but one sinner is the destruction of much good.
To cut the chain, we gotta cut a vessel loose. Nuclears are gonna be no dying bodies. There's wars and differences and gonna heal no deprivated hearts. Unity is the way to heal the world and let us live in the harmony. Love is the way to resurrect this fallen world. Unity is the way to beautify the nature world. ways. Price is the dawn of man. Some with power equals inferior, with decisions and superior, conceited and arrogant. Let every soul be subject to the higher power, for there's no power but of God. When power's the being, the end of God. Where can wisdom be found, and where's the place of understanding? No mission shall be made of peril and quates, for the price of wisdom is above rupees.
Give attention to the good man, and take note of the prize, because the end of that man is peace.
Gotta cut it vest loose. Summer baby, nucleus, and all feel no dying bodies. This wars and differences, and all heal no different hearts. Unit is the way to heal the world, and let us live in the harmony. Love is the way to resurrect this fallen world. Unit is the way to purify the nature wound.
Over all the earth, by him the bow is broken, and the spear cut in two, and the carriage burned in the fire.
Well, that won't be number one.